What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to break down what's happening with the economic calendar thus far, what's going on with the news involving the markets, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But let me first say that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed 5 free stocks. You deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. SPY is currently pushing to this 523.5 resistance. Maybe watch and see how this thing ends up reacting. I'll be breaking down more details about the charts in just a couple of minutes. But let me first mention that initial jobless claims came out a little bit lower than expected. The market is still pumping as that came out. But today, 15 minutes after the market opens at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, if the S&P Global Composite PMI, Manufacturing PMI, and Services PMI all coming out. This is going to be very important for these sectors which are key for the economy. So we'll see if there's contraction or not. So expect some high volatility at 9:45 a.m. Then at 10 o'clock a.m., we have existing home sales coming out. Not to mention the bill auctions at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's pretty much it for data. Those are the three main times we watch for data. The main two times are 9:45 a.m. and also at 11:30 a.m. when the bill auctions come out, and we'll see how things go. But watch for a big move at 9:45 a.m. We'll see if this causes the market to reject or if the market keeps pushing once this data comes out. So watch for that very carefully. This is going to be key. And then besides that, for news involving the markets, we have three records. We have three all-time high records from the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq Composite, and the S&P 500. Once again, the futures are also up quite a bit, but we're approaching some key resistance. The Fed came out and they said that they're going to see about three cuts in 2024, which is what the market liked. And they're once again leaning a little bit more on the lenient side, somewhat more. That's what Jerome Powell was kind of like talking about, being less hawkish and more dovish yesterday. There was some news that came out that Reddit priced its IPO on Wednesday at $34 a share, valuing the company at close to $6.5 billion, near the top of the expected range. That's great news for them. On top of this, another company is benefiting from AI and the boom that's been coming out. That's Micron is popping over 16% after they reported their second quarter earnings. So that's also good for them. They ended up having a decent EPS and they beat on revenue, so good for Micron. And then finally, when it comes to ESPN, the business model of Disney's ESPN appears to be not in the best of places considering what's happening with their cable subscription fees. And on top of this, more and more Americans are opting out to cancel their cable TV. So going forward, we're gonna have to see any changes that are going to be made to their subscription plans and how this ends up affecting them. So we'll see how it goes for them. But we're seeing some news about that's coming out that's kind of criticizing them. For earnings for Thursday, which is today, after the market closes, we have Nike and FedEx. I might actually talk about these very briefly, but that's pretty much it. Everything else is very minor for the week. Now let's talk about the charts. So the thing about SPY is this thing is at a new all-time high, and we're at territory we've never been in before. So this is why you want to be careful at these levels. What I will say is that SPY has resistance at 523.5. Watch this very carefully. If we reject here, we're going to be coming back down to 522 to fill this gap, actually very close to 521.8. And if we fail to hold this as support, we could actually return to about 520 and we'll see how it reacts from there. If we lose that, 518 is coming. But honestly, guys, it depends on how we react to 523.5. If this rejects, we have a risk of coming all the way back down. If we hold this and break past this, 525 is going to be coming. If that breaks, 526 is next. So watch resistance. I just want to say that this resistance right here, I'm going to make this thicker, is very, very tough where this green line is. Can the SPY break 523.5 and start pushing higher, or are we about to hit resistance and start turning back down to fill this gap in the 521.8 area, then start sinking? Watch it very carefully. I just want to warn you to watch it, see if we break this or not. So far, we've struggled to break past 523.5, but I'm not going to guarantee anything yet. We just have to wait and see. But for now, I just want to give you guys a warning about this resistance. It is very tough on SPY. If we do manage to break this, 525 is going to be our next target. If you reject here, we're going to be coming down to 521.8 and eventually 520 if that fails. All right, it's very simple. Just watch the price action very carefully and see how it reacts to that level. As far as the QQQ goes, I believe that we're approaching the all-time high. We actually touched it exactly at 448.5, But the last time we hit this level, we rejected off of it. So now we're at resistance at 448.5, and then we have 448. If the QQQ rejects off 448.5, we're going to return all the way down to about 446. If we break past 448.5, we're going to be looking for 449 and eventually 450 as resistance. I think we could get very close to 450 if we break 448.5. So watch this resistance. The reason I'm calling it out is because the last time we hit this, we got this very, very big rejection. And excuse me, and then this thing ended up coming right back down. So we're going to be watching to see how it reacts to this. It's going to be a very, very tight level. If we break 448.5, look for a push for 450. If you reject off of it, we're going to be coming back down towards 446.73, and eventually this gap fills at 446. So watch it carefully. We'll see how the QQQ does. I'm going to be open-minded, but watch and see if we get that rejection. As for Nvidia's got a nice push-up. It is looking pretty decent, going all the way up to about 925, the level that we called out. I said that if we broke 908, expect 920 plus. If we reject off 908, we're going to come down. We broke past it, which is great, but now we're at resistance at 925 on Nvidia. The last time we hit 925, we rejected kind of. So we're going to be watching to see if we break past this. If it breaks 925, we're going to be pushing all the way up, in my opinion, towards, we could get closer to about 930 plus and eventually 938. Into the 930s we go if we break past 925. If we reject very close to this 925 range, which is where we rejected last time, watch 920 is support. If we lose this, we could return all the way down to about 914, then 908. So we're at resistance on Nvidia. We'll see if this thing rejects or not. But overall, there is still some upside potential for it, at least later on. So the chart is still kind of bullish overall, but we're going to be watching for the temporary short term. Do we get a rejection or not? And then for Tesla, I would say that Tesla's on a very, very nice uptrend. It's been trying to break out very, very well. The problem with Tesla is that we have resistance again at 177.5. If Tesla does get a rejection, it doesn't have to crash, but it could actually retrace to about 175, then try to retest this trend line. If we break past 177.5 and continue to hold it, we could be looking for a push towards that 180 area. It is kind of struggling to break 177.6, so I could see this actually tracing a little bit, retesting 175, kind of consolidating a bit, and eventually making its way up higher later on. But watch and see if Tesla gets a little retracement back down to 175 before it tries to bounce or not. So watch that carefully. There is a risk of it coming down just a bit and trying to bounce, so that's going to be very, very key. And then for Aapl, and by the way, we have 175 as support, 173.75. Resistance watch 177.6, 180, then eventually 182.5. We might see this retrace just a little bit, but then it might try to bounce later on. So watch for that move on Tesla, by the way. And finally, for Aapl, I just want to say that Aapl still looking decent. I did call this move yesterday. I said yesterday it might come down to the 175s and try to bounce. That's what's happened so far. We're going to be watching this resistance at 177.5 because the last time we hit this, we did end up getting a rejection. So we're at resistance right now. If we break through this, watch 178 to 178.5 is tight resistance. If we break that, 180 is next. I do think it's going to try to push a little bit. We're actually at this resistance, so we'll see if we could get closer to 178. But watch to see if we break the 178s or not. If we do break them, 180 is next. If we reject off them, we're going to be coming back down to 176.5, eventually 175. So look for a little push on Aapl and watch resistance. If it rejects, it comes back down to 175. If it breaks through this, it's going to be pushing up to 180. Anyways, that is it for the main tickers I typically talk about. Now let's just talk about a few others. We have Rivian. Rivian is trying to push a little bit higher. Look for a test of 11.55. If we break, they're going to push even higher. So we have some resistance right there. We also have a few more like Super Micro, which is trying to rebound exactly as predicted. We're currently at 925. If we push higher, watch 960. If it rejects off that, it's going to come back down to about support at 916. If it breaks past 960, 1013 is coming, but I do see a test of 9. It could push to 950 to 960 if it keeps going. For Google, we're looking a little bullish. Could try to push up towards 152, so watch resistance there. This is Amazon's currently approaching 180, the exact level we called out yesterday, but watch resistance there. If we break it, 182 is next. If it fails, it's going to come back down to 178. And then for Meta, we have this 511, 512 area. If it breaks past this, we're going to be looking for a push towards 520. If it rejects off this, we're going to be coming back down to 507 in lower levels. So we'll see how it goes. Meta is looking bullish for now, so just watch resistance at 514, the level we called out yesterday. So far, so good from the markets. Let's hope we continue pushing, but we'll watch resistance and see how we end up reacting. All right, so thank you for listening. Have a great day and peace out.